All right, it's Max, and we're back. And I was going to do a follow up to the Satanic Stephen Anderson cult series where we're talking about sodomites and the law and what it says in the New Testament. I'm a person who sort of believes that it doesn't say it's really okay to murder anybody in the New Testament from a Christian standpoint. If your government decides to murder people, that's a government thing, not a Christian doctrine of murdering people. Okay? Do I believe? Oh, well, I'm sticking up for gay people. No, I don't. I don't condone it. I don't think that they should be killed. And I'll get into that as part of a little bit of my testimony later on here. First, we're going to look at some comments on this video. I thought it was a pretty good comment, and we're going to talk about it. I think it's Nave Wilson. Nave. I think it's Nave. Capital punishment is biblical and taught in the New Testament, Romans 13. We're going to look at Romans 13. Throughout history, there have been many anti-sodomy laws. Yeah, so? And it was a criminal offense to engage in such abominable practice. Well, there's a lot of things that are against the law. In the United States, there's a law that says that children under like 13 can't use the telephone. During a more biblical time in history, there was, for example, such laws as Buggery Act of 1533, which was passed by the Parliament of England, making the acts of sodomy punishable by death. Well, if they want to do that, they can do that. But just because people pass laws doesn't mean that it's the Bible says to do that. You know, I mean, Hitler wanted to kill a bunch of Jews. And he had all sorts of laws about the Jews. Was it the right thing to do? No. Does the Bible say that, hey, Hitler, you should probably round up and kill the Jews? No. We're talking about two different things here. You know, what the state decides to do and what it says in the Bible. Unfortunately, we have been so desensitized to the heinous nature of sodomy or in modern Western secular society that we do not completely understand how despicable it is. No, I understand. Most Christians understand. And we're not desensitized to it. The general public, yes, they're desensitized. You know, excuse me. You have your gay pride march parades. Where is my straight guy parades? There isn't really any. I'm going to celebrate the fact that I'm normal. I believe that murderers, rapists, pedophiles, and those who engage in bestiality should be put to death. And here I want to say that Nave Wilson, I'm right there with you. I want that to happen too. Unfortunately, I have firsthand experience with some of this stuff, which I'll get into later. And yeah, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. That's still Old Testament. And we're talking to Jews. If you murder somebody, should you be put to death? Probably. Probably. You're raping somebody, should you be put to death? Not if you didn't kill them. Pedophiles, definitely death. Bestiality, who cares? But, you know, putting people to death when you have the option of something else, just locking them up and retraining people. Why kill them? You know, I myself might be ticked and want somebody to be put to death for the crimes they did. And particularly messing with small children and stuff. But we're taking that line from people who kill other people, who have actually taken other people's lives or wrecked other people's lives or something like that, and you're stretching it to sodomy, which essentially is just fornication. Because it's between the same sex, somehow that's against the law. But fornication, when it's man and a woman, that's not a problem. Why don't you kill them too? And in the Old Testament, they were. And if you reject that, then please tell me which crimes you think should be punishable by death, because on the New Testament it clearly teaches capital punishment. I don't know that it does. The New Testament does not teach capital punishment. It says that the governments are in charge and follow the rules of the government that you're in. That's basically what it says. Well, and I'll tell you, I said in the last video, I am for, or was for, used to be for capital punishment up until pretty recent. Murderers, yeah, definitely, kill them people. Pedophiles, kill them people. Rapists, just throw them in jail for a while and, let them get out. And it might sound like I'm soft on crime. I'm really not. It's just, I don't think that a Christian should be taking people's lives, because it's murder. Even if they're convicted of a crime, there has to be some guy there to throw the switch to kill the person on death row. There is a guy there. By firing squad or by hanging or whatever, electrocution, there's somebody there who throws the switch who gets to be a murderer for the state. You can say he's justified or something like that, but I don't know. There's no reason you can't just let him sit in jail forever. There really isn't. And why do I bring that up is because, I know from firsthand experience about jail. Before I get into that, we're going to go to Romans 13. Because this is the justification for killing gay people, apparently. Let every soul be subject unto higher powers. For there is no power but of God, the powers that are ordained of God, which means that the powers that are in place and the governments that are in place now are basically run by God. Okay? So you need to follow the rules. Whosoever thereof resisteth the power resisteth the ordinance of God, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. So if you speed, I guess you're supposed to get killed. Okay? If you're doing 65 in a 55 mile per hour zone, I guess that means you're supposed to get killed. And I understand what Nave, or whatever it was saying. In here, it does not say what the punishment is for any of this. It says that you'll have to worry about God. And it doesn't give punishments like in the law of Moses. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to evil. Wilt thou then be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. For he is the minister of God to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil. Be afraid, for he beareth not the sword in vain. For he is the minister of God, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. Excuse me. This is talking about God, all right? This isn't talking about the government, all right? So people who want to use this verse, it's talking about God, not the government. Wherefore ye must needs be subject, not only for wrath, but also for conscience sake. For this cause pay ye tribute also, for they are God's ministers, attending continually upon this very thing. Render therefore to all their dues, tribute to whom tribute is due, custom to whom custom, fear to whom fear, honor to whom honor. Owe no man anything. Uh-oh. Well, if you have a credit card, I guess we should put you to death. Right here is a commandment in the Bible. If you want to put sodomites to death. Owe no man anything, but to love one another. For he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law. For he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law. Unless you kill them, because they didn't pay their credit card. For this, thou shalt not commit adultery, kill them. Thou shalt not kill them. Thou shalt not steal, kill them. Thou shalt not bear false witness. Oh, kill everybody on the planet. Kill everybody on the planet. Thou shalt not covet, kill everybody on the planet. And if there be any other commandment, it be briefly comprehended in saying, namely, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Kill everybody on the planet. I mean, it's like capital punishment is the only thing that is the answer for everything. Nowhere in Romans 13 does it say that Christians should be killing people. It talks about following, briefly, quasi talks about, follow the government. Because the government and stuff is put in power by God. So you need to follow the rules. That's what it says. And then it says down here what all these things that are going to tick God off. All right? So people should be killed for this stuff? Should be killed. Love worketh no ill to his neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law. Love is the fulfilling of the law. Well, unless you screw up, then we have to kill you. And that, knowing the time, that now is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than we believed. The night is far spent, and the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness, and let us put on the armor of light. Let us walk honestly, as in the day, not in rioting and drunkenness, not in chambering and wantonness, not in strife and envying. But put ye on the Lord Jesus Christ, and make not provision for the flesh to fulfill the lusts thereof. This is, the ideals of what Christians should be doing. It's idealistic. It says nothing in here about killing people. All right? It says nothing. Nave Wilson, it says nothing in there about killing people. And you can see my response to that comment. Romans 13 does not say to kill people that break the commandments. It just says to keep them and treat others as you treat yourself. Sodomy is an abomination. True. But also consider that basically as an act of fornication. Should we put everyone who has ever fornicated to death? Fornication is a crime against It's God, not a crime against willing people engaged in it. And he says what? Romans 13 clearly says that God has ordained the sword in the hands of the human government, punishment of evildoers, and for the execution of wrath upon them which do evil. Well, is consensual fornication evil? It's a crime against God. That's how I see it. Two men getting together is no different than me getting together with someone I'm not married to. It's fornication. Sodomy is a special sin because it's unnatural and all this other stuff, but sin is sin. If you do a study of capital punishment in the Bible, you will see that it is taught before the law, during the law, and after the law. It has been taught in all dispensations since Noah came off the ark, so that a repeat of the pre-flood lawlessness is never experienced again. Well, here's the thing, is that we're not living in that time. Okay, we're in a different dispensation. I'll agree with you. In the Old Testament, yes, that is the way it was done. But it was specifically to the Jews. Sodom, Gomorrah, and a couple of other towns God burned up because they were just filthy. But in the New Testament, it doesn't say anything really about that. About, how to punish people. And so we are in a different dispensation now in the church age. There's a difference. And you can't take dispensations from the Old Testament and what's going on with the Jews and the laws that they had and try to bring them into today. Otherwise, you should be out there killing Canaanites. You should kill people that do anything on Saturday. Do you see what I'm saying? Should murderers be put to death? I think that they're the number one slot. Pedophiles, I think that they're up there too. Whatever the government wants to do with them. But I also know that people are thrown in jail for really, really dumb reasons that don't hurt anybody. And I think throwing somebody who likes to mess around with the same sex in jail is ridiculous. They're not hurting anybody. Now, granted, a lot of those people are twisted in the head and they're obviously perverted. And, they go on and, they spread disease and stuff like this. But you got willing people engaged in an act that God does not approve of, does not necessarily mean they should be put to death. Otherwise, you have to say that whatever God does not approve of, you have to put all, I'd be put to death 1,050, 100 times over. Why is that important? I'm going to go back to this man. Guy who murdered like 20 people and ate their bodies. He was a gay dude and got saved by Christ. And the reason that he was able to get saved by Christ is because he committed his crimes in Wisconsin. Because he knew that there was no death penalty and he knew he was going to get caught. He kind of intended to get caught. He knew eventually, I'm going to get caught. And while he was in prison, he got saved. And back to Romans 13, there's nothing in here that says anything about killing people. Wrath upon them that doeth evil. That's God's wrath. That's God doing it. And God ordained the powers in your government to, dispense wrath as they see fit. I guess I'm not going to get into me. Maybe I'll get a little bit into me. All right. I've been in a whole bunch of trouble a long time ago. And what happens in America is you get in trouble, you get into the system, okay? And it's either plead guilty and get like no time in jail and no fines, or you plead not guilty and you're sitting in jail for a month. The catch is with pleading guilty is you're going to be on probation for however long the crime was. And I'm just going to, as an example, use disorderly conduct, which is the most garbage charge anyone could ever get. But that's like, I think the maximum sentence is a year in jail for something like that. You can either plead guilty and walk out of the courtroom, be done with it, and be on probation, or you can plead not guilty and sit in jail for a month. And then you have your second hearing, and then they let you go. That's kind of how the system works. And depending on the severity of the crime, longer jail time, whatever, everybody always pleads guilty to everything. Because there's no, you have no jail time involved. And I will talk about my stuff. I'm not a mass murderer. I would consider my crimes to be, what do they call that? Crimes against no one? Crimes against myself, maybe? I'm not out murdering, raping people, or whatever. Yeah. Victimless crimes, they call it. So you go in there and it's like, well, I can either sit in jail for a week or I can just plead guilty and get out, which is what everybody does. And then they put you on probation for a year or 2 years. But they give you the maximum sentence, and then they call it a suspended sentence. So they let you out, and they give you the maximum amount of jail time. Maximum. And then you're out on probation because it gives somebody else a job. And then if you're out there and you have any problems, you come back in for a probation violation and you're in jail for whatever they let you out on. You know what I mean? If you had like a year of your time, you're basically in jail for that. And you have to go back to court and do all this other stuff. So I was in jail for some time because of that, where I violated my probation. Again, all victimless crimes. So I don't think Max Bauer is a murderer or anything. Just how it worked out, and is all long ago and far away before I was saved. But I want to talk about it because while I was in there, what people need to understand about jails. Now, I don't know about prison. I've never been to prison. But I can tell you about jails. You're in there with people, mass murderers, serial rapists, and a DWI guy. And most everybody is in there for violation of probation. I would bet about 70% of the people, whatever crime they committed. And also people that do, you don't have order for protections against them. Because women, that's just their favorite thing to do for some reason. Is, I'm going to get an order for protection against, yeah, they can get them without any problem. And they really want to mess their man up like that. And there's a lot of guys in there that are just regular guys that are really getting messed over by their women because of the order for protection thing. But it's not like when you go to like a prison, they generally would have the non-violent people all in one area, and then you have your mass murderers and stuff in some other prison. When you're in jail, everybody is lumped together. Okay? They're all lumped together. And I was there long enough where I had the opportunity that I could actually, talk to people a little bit. I'm going to say, in jail, these are people that are waiting to go to court, pretty much, to figure out if they're going to go to prison or get out or whatever. They're all fighting their case, so no one wants to say anything. The people that I talked to when I was in there, one person in particular, he looked sort of like a 50-year-old buckwheat, if you know buckwheat from Little Rascals. He wasn't stupid. I don't think he was native to this country. I'm not quite sure. But occasionally I can ask people why they're in there. No, this is pretty much a rule that you don't really break. I'm just kind of I'm a rogue like that. You shouldn't ask people why they're in there, but I did. And he said, well, I shot my wife in the face. Huh? You shot your wife in the face? Why do I bring him up? I never really asked him to get much into it. He just said that, well, things got out of hand. And that's his explanation for it. Why do I bring him up? Because when I was there, I played with a guy, I played Scrabble all day long. Whenever they let you out of your cell, I played Scrabble. The table next to me, they would be doing Bible study. And he was running the Bible study. Because he found Christ while he was in lockup. The person who runs or at least at that time, he was the pastor of the Christian congregation where you go to like church time or whatever. He was the pastor. I'm pretty sure he was a murderer too. So, were they true Christians or were they just faking it? They don't really have a reason to fake it. Jeffrey Dahmer has no reason to fake being a Christian. He's life in prison, no parole. He'll never get out, and he knows it. There is absolutely no reason for him to fake being a Christian. And when someone looks at you and says, well, I shot my wife in the face, and they look and you can tell that they feel bad about it, and that was his exact words. I shot my wife in the face. And they feel bad about it. And they're doing Bible studies. This is before I was saved. Granted, this is 20 years ago. You have to give people a chance to redeem themselves. because a man wants to lay down with another man. All right. A man wants to lay down with another man. A woman wants to lay down with a woman. You want to kill those people for fornication. You pretty much would have to kill half the planet. Not for being sodomite, but just for fornication. And then where are you going to stop? We're going to kill everybody who tells a lie. This is what Jesus Christ died for. And this is why there is nothing in New Testament Christianity that says Christians should be killing anybody. Nobody. When we come back with the Lord, we'll be slaughtering a lot of people. That's a different dispensation. In the current dispensation we are right now, no. This is a period of grace. Yeah, I don't know where you would draw the lines if you want to start saying, kill gay people. It's the same thing as like, well, just kill the Jews because they're Jews. Huh? What? That's crazy. And don't say that I'm pro gay people or pro sodomite. I'm not. I think it's ridiculous how they trump them all up to be, something special. And Bruce Jenner and all that stuff with the transgender crap. No, I think it's repulsive. Do I think they should be put to death for that? No. I think that they should be back in the closet, is what I think. I think that it should be socially unacceptable to live that sort of lifestyle. And they shouldn't ever tell anybody about it. The same way that people who are straight shouldn't really talk about their sex life either. And that's my story and what I think on that. And I think I've talked enough. And I'm sorry I didn't have more pretty graphics or anything to come up, but mainly it was my own personal experience with this stuff and how I changed from being a hardcore capital punishment guy to being, I don't know. There are a lot of these people that get saved and there's no reason to kill them because honestly, it costs more money to kill somebody in America than it does to just have them on life in prison. For a variety of reasons. But there's no point in killing them. With that, we're out of here.